Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and a good evening to you, the good people of the tube. Hope today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hi there, I hope your morning's better than mine. Mine is going horrifically, everything seems to be going wrong. It's one of those days, let me tell you all out there. You ever have one of those days where you get up in the morning and everything you do seems to go horrifically wrong? So it's very annoying. Anyway, didn't answer. Wednesday, I can't talk. Anyway, hello everybody. Yes, question one today, everybody. I will say quickly today, this is going to have to be a shorter Q&A, as at this point in time, I'm actually recording a song with Dukes Deluder, so I don't have time to do 6 or 7 or 8 questions today, sadly. So I've only got time to do 4 questions today. So I hope that's okay with you out there in the tube land. So yes, let's get to question 1, shall we? Oh yeah, and by the way, the song you will see when it's finished. It should be. We're recording it now. That should be done hopefully by the end of this week. Touch wood. Touch wood, touch wood, touch wood, touch wood, touch wood, and all that. And then we're going to do a little video for it, a little promotional video. And then it should be out mid-November. And it will be out on this channel as well as the Dukes Deluder channel as well, YouTube channels as well. But enough on that right now, it's kind of a secret. So yes, question 1 today, everybody. Question 1 of 4 today. Question 1. Could you go into how you do some of your backing tracks and loops? And do you have any shorter loop tips? Okay, so I've spoke about this before in a Q&A. I think it was a Q&A where I actually did the intro of the video and I demonstrated exactly how I do intros. But I will say it again because some people miss episodes and whatnot, and that's cool. So, looping wise, what I do for intros, it varies. It depends on how I feel. Today's loop, again, just all the loops that I come up with just come out of nowhere more often than not. I mean, I don't know where they come from. I don't understand where they come from, and that's cool, and I like that. So today's loop and other loops that I've done before, where it's kind of in song structure, strong structure. What I do is basically I find a drum beat I like on the Zoom G2. So my Zoom G2 is has a drum machine built into it, as well as being a multi-effects unit. So I find a drum beat I like. And today I really wanted kind of like a kind of almost like a shuffle kind of thing. It's got a kind of ding like that kind of thing. And I just felt that was right today. And I actually, before I found the drum beat, I actually started playing those chords. Like that, so you can hear that kind of like dun 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 dun, that kind of drum beat fits really nicely to that. A straight drum beat will just drag it and it'll sound a bit weird. So so I found I normally kind of like come up with like a basic chord progression first. I mean that was just D minor, F major, and C major, and then I find a drum pattern I like. In this case, it was like a shuffle beat in the Zoom G2. Which it pretty much normally is. There have been occasions in the past where I've used my Zoom drum machine, but not very often. So, got a chord progression, got my drum sound, and then what I do is I just click record. Well, I get the drum kit going, and then I just click record on the Ditto looper, my Ditto looper that I've got, the X2, and I just go through it. Basically, like I just play. And then whatever comes after that becomes that intro jam, basically. So, I don't remember the chords that I just played. I know that bit. I don't remember the rest of the chords that I played. It's just gone from my mind already, because it's just all in the moment. The whole idea of the intro jams is to capture a moment. It's not to kind of like have it perfectly refined and mixed properly, and you know, it's to capture a moment and an emotion like in time. Because I only ever do 1 or 2 takes of it. Today was just 1 take, because I like the idea of that kind of like spontaneity of just like, you know, you don't know what's going to happen, There's probably going to be mistakes in there, but that's okay. There's going to be, levels are going to be a bit strange here and there, but that's okay as well, because it's all captured in that moment. It's never going to be repeated. You've done that at that time, and that's the way you felt, and that's the way what you wanted it to be at that time, and that's what I want to do with these intro jams. I don't want it to be kind of a really long, thought-out process where I'm kind of like, oh, well, I could go do this scale and I do that, and I don't like that. There are backing tracks I've done in the past where I've overdubbed other guitar parts, like, fading guitar parts and stuff like that, and I've spent a bit of time creating it. But most of the time, it's just a rhythm guitar, the drums, and my lead over the top, which is just kind of whatever it'll be, really. So yeah, that's it, really. It's quite simple. Like I say, come up with chord progression, like a basic chord progression first, kind of like, core of the song, just on the spot. I don't overthink it. Whatever I play first is good enough. I find that if I go like, and go, I don't know about that, and I'll start going, if I start messing with it, I'll start to get carried away, and then it can get kind of like, I can get this bit despondent with it, and it gets annoying. So yeah, chord progression, drum pattern, hit record, let whatever comes out come out, and I record normally songs like today, like it's like in a song structure. So things like today, I record them in entirety. They're not really a loop; they're just kind of recorded in order. So it went from a verse to a chorus to a verse to a chorus to I don't know what else after that, and then to a calmer outro today. But that's all recorded on a ditto looper, because the ditto looper's got about 5 minutes of recording time or something like that. So it's just recorded kind of like, in a linear fashion. It's not recorded in a loop. So it's like, you got your verse and your chorus, and then it loops back round on the looper. I just play the verse again. And I like to extend certain passages here and there, so that lends to that nicely. I hope this is making sense. I'm a bit worried it's not, but yeah, I record it in its entirety, front to back. If it's like a jam today, and quite a lot of the jams I do, it's normally kind of like front to back, because I like the movement. You also so that's what I do. You asked for shorter loop tips. So shorter loops. Let me get rid of that initial loop. See, I can't do it again now because I've deleted it. So that intro jam is gone. So it's now forever immortalized on YouTube. So smaller loops, I would recommend, if you're going to do small loops, you want to kind of like just get a really nice moving chord progression and just loop that. But keep it simple. So like, for instance, like, if you again, if I kind of use that chord progression, just I would do this. So I've got that looping now, and then I would just play over the top of that, and because it's got a nice feel, it's got a nice flow to it, and it's got a nice movement to it. So it should be really nice to solo over. Yeah, you just don't get the mass movement basically that you would, like, with a linear kind of like song structure, let's say. So that's what I'd recommend to do if you've got like a shorter loop time. Just kind of like literally get a chord progression of maybe about 2 to 3 to 4, maybe to 5 chords, and just loop them and play over them. But make sure they've got kind of nice, kind of melodic value to them. You don't want to be kind of just like, unless you're Django Reinhardt, but you want it. I would say you want it kind of like, so it's got like some kind of melodic feel to it. It wants to flow. you can move around it melodically instead of it just kind of like being a straight kind of like, you know, thing. Or 12-bar blues is quite cool as well if you loop as long enough. So yeah, I mean, shorter loops, you want to, like I say, go for something like, you know, like that. Or like I say, a 12-bar blues. 12-bar blues jams are always really, really cool. You can record kind of, you know... Well, I'm not going to do it now. You get the idea. It'll take forever to record a slow blues thing. Or if, you know, if there's fast blues. You get the idea. 12-bar blues jams are great fun. Okay, so yeah, that's how I do my loops. That's how kind of like that's what I'd recommend for kind of like, you know, shorter loops. You can do stuff like Maggot Brain, which is always a really, really cool loop before the beginning, stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend for if you got like a shorter kind of time. Because I before I got the ditto looper, I used to loop on my line 6 delay modeler, which is. I think it's only 30 seconds on its longest time. So, I used to do that all the time. I would just create like a chord pattern that I liked and just basically solo over the top of it. So, and that, you know, because I only had a short amount of time, so I'd kind of do something like, you know, just like... It's one of those mornings, everything's going wrong. So yeah, that's what I would recommend if you kind of got like a limited kind of time. Just do something really kind of small like that. If you've got like something like a ditto looper where you got longer time, it's really cool to record like a whole kind of song kind of structure, so you get a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, whatever. It's just really good fun. And also it gives the ability for the song to move. You can change, you can change key, you can change melody, you can change the feel. You can change intensity as well. Like, for instance, on the intro jam, it went up in intensity and then came back down again, which is really important in music to be able to get, you know, tension and release and stuff like that. So I hope that's those bits. You also asked too. Well, that final thing on the question 1 is what looper do you find the best? I haven't tried many loopers in my life. I've tried a few. I've tried like the Boss loop stations. Like I said, I used my line 6 delay modeler loop station for years. Absolutely years I've used that for. I don't know. Literally don't know how many years. I think I got my loop station in... well, not the loop station, sorry. The delay modeler in... It must have been around 2008, and I've been using it for a loop ever since. You know, since 2008, until I got my ditto looper, which was, you know, very, very kind of given to me by my friend Richard. Thank you, Richard. About 2 years ago, which is mental to think. But yeah, I mean, because that's a really cool. It's a great looper. The Line 6 delay model looper is really, really good, and especially running into a front end as well, not the effects loop. It still sounds really, really good. I have tried the Boss loop stations. They're really good as well. But in my opinion, out of all the loopers I've tried, which isn't a lot, so, you know, don't take my word as gospel that, you know, this is the best looper in the world. But to me it is, because, like I always say, I'm a broken old record when I say this, but I am a creature of habit. So when I find something I like, I just tend to just stick to it like glue, and I don't really look elsewhere. Once I've found something that works for me and I like, I don't really kind of tend to vary it very much. It's very rare for me to vary stuff up. But the Ditto Looper X2, with the one with the 2 buttons and the ability to do reverse, half speed, and stop with the right switch, and the ability to store loops and stuff like that, is just the most simple, easy to use, clear sounding looper, especially when you're running it with the effects loop like I do. I always run, unless it's my Line 6 delay model, I always run loopers into the effects loop. I just find the loop is a lot cleaner, and you can also change effects without messing with the loop. You can do that in the front end as well, but it's it's a little bit more finicky. It can be a bit more messy sounding if you're not careful. So it's not impossible to run a looper into the front end and have it clean at all. It's really, you can do it, and maybe I'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I mean, I find the Ditto loopers to be absolutely amazing. I've tried the small one. I've got the X2. And it's one of those things that if the X2 broke, I'd just get another one, because they're absolutely amazing. They really. Sorry about it, everyone. It's one of those days. Things are not going swimmingly or smoothly at all. So I do apologise for the break then. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, loopers and stuff like that. Yeah, Ditto looper is by far, I think, one of the coolest loopers in the world. So yes. So I hope that's answered your question. I'm going to move on to question 2 now. Today is just going to be a hard day. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be an uphill battle all day. I can feel it. Feel it in my bones, man. Anyway, question 2. Question 2. What Strats have the best price to quality ratio in your opinion? Would it be Vintage, Fender, Revelation, Harley Benton, or others? Okay, so I haven't tried any Harley Benton Strats, so I can't comment on that. Squire Classic Vibes are ridiculously good value for money. This is just a Squire Affinity, and this is solid as a rock. It's just ridiculously good guitar, this one. The only thing I've changed on it is scratch plate, the knobs, machine heads. They didn't need to be replaced, but I wanted the vintage Clouson style ones, as it said, John Frusciante replica. And I've also put clay dots in. I've got rid of the pearloid dots that come in it, the mother of toilet seat dots that come in it, and I've put clay dots in. So yeah, Squire, Revelation are amazing. I've only tried one Revelation Strat, but it was enough to make me go, yes, I want it. It was white, and I tried it. I only picked it up for like a short period of time, because it was one of those guitars that I walked into a guitar shop and it was there on the wall. I was just kind of like drawn to it, and I picked it up and just like that's all you need to do to know if a guitar's, if a guitar feels good to you immediately. So yeah, Revelation do amazing value for money guitars. They're just insane guitars, the Revelations are. I just love them to bits. Absolutely love them to bits. I really need to get my hands on a Strat, though, from them, because I want to do a demo on one. So I'm going to have to try and see if I can get one off them for a demo. Like I say, I haven't tried any Harley Benton guitars yet. They did contact me. Must have been about, a couple of months ago now. And asked would I be interested in demoing any of their guitars, and I said yes, I would. But they never got back in touch after that, so I don't know. But I would like to try them at some point, but it depends on this, that, and the other. So but I can't comment on Harley Benton. But I would highly recommend something like a Revelation or a Squire, Fender Mexico. Fender Mexico guitars are stunning. You're always going to get bad ones, no matter what you do, no matter where you are, you're always going to get a bad guitar that's just kind of absolutely terrible, no matter what it is, or which price point, or whatever, or make, or whatever. But, you've got to judge everything on its merits, when a guitar comes, you've got to tweak it to your own preference, if it's good out of the box, excuse me, if it's good out of the box, and you just like it the way it is, then there's no need to change it. But if it's just good out of the box, you can make it better by adding your own little tweaks to it, like your own setup and stuff like that. Different strings, gauges, or whatever. Setting tremolos up or whatever. So yeah, I would recommend like Revelation, Squire, Fender Mexico. Is there anybody else? Sub-Zero guitars. I don't think they do a Strat shape though. But they're amazing guitars. but they're ridiculous. They really are ridiculous. For the price, it's just like, this shouldn't be this cheap. This shouldn't be this cheap. Not for that. Not for the way not for the way they feel and play. But yeah, come to think of it, I don't think they do a Strat copy. So yeah, maybe not that route. But yeah, Revelation Squire, Fender Mexico. Like I said, I can't comment on High Bending because I haven't tried them. I don't know. There's quite a lot of really, really good kind of like cheap Strat copies out there. I bought a Star Sound Stratocaster for 25 quid once, and to this day, I'm gutted I got rid of it because it was an amazing guitar. It was one of those kind of like freak accidents where, well, it wasn't a freak accident at all. It was just really, really good guitar. And it was just a cheapo guitar. The body was like not even wood. I don't know what it was, but it was ridiculously light. It was neck heavy because the body was so light. But it was such an amazing guitar. It played amazing. It sounded amazing. The sunburst on it was dead questionable. But, it doesn't really matter about that. But the whole guitar was amazing and it felt solid as rock. So it was really, really good. And it was 25 quid, which is amazing. But, what else? You say vintage on there as well. And I don't know whether I want to say this or I do want to say this. Well, in all fairness to you, it's better if I'm honest about this. So, recently, people have been telling me that vintage, the guitars haven't been very good. And I was a bit like, that's not good. And then I experienced it for myself. I went to a local guitar shop, and there was a Daphne Blue Telecaster kind of. I forget what they're called. I forget the model of the vintage Telecasters. But anyway, I got asked to try it because they were like, "Oh, yeah, is that right? Is that guitar right?" And I didn't know what they meant by that. So I went over and I picked up a guitar, and I was just like, I was horrified. Lack of a better word, I was horrified by it because the frets stuck out the ends to the point where they sliced your hand, they sliced your fingers. You got all those kind of like, you ever played a guitar with like really sharp frets and they kind of like cut your fingers and gives you like a little bit of white bits of skin on there? That's what happened on my thumb and my fingers. Literally running around up and down, you got cut by it. The frets stuck out the end so much and they were that sharp. They weren't finished at all. It was horrific. And I expected more from that. But it continues. The neck didn't fit the neck pocket. And it looked like it had been hammered in to the neck pocket. It was too big. It was the neck was oversized for the neck pocket. And the join was terrible. The neck moved. The whole neck moved in the guitar. It was kind of creaked and moved. The action was terrible. It sounded terrible. The pickups were dull, lifeless, rubbish. It didn't stay in tune. The action was like that high. It was ridiculous. And it was just a pile. I'm sorry, it just was. And people have commented, well, not commented, but people have told me recently that they've been buying vintage V6 Strats and Lemon Drops, and they're coming and they're rubbish. And this bothers me. And it makes me worried a bit for vintage. And it also makes me worried as well because I've recommended vintage for a long time because was genuinely blown away by their quality of their guitars and the sound of their guitars, and everything about their guitars was immense. My vintage V6 Strat, which I've got, my vintage Lemon Drop that I've got, and all the other vintages I've owned in the past, like the Flying V and the Gold Top and my other V6 were amazing, and all the other vintages I've tried were amazing. So to hear that people are buying these guitars and they're arriving and they're absolute dogs is very disconcerting. And it's very worrying too, and it makes me go, well, I don't want to recommend those guitars if they're going out of the factory terrible and they're arriving at people's houses unplayable. I don't want to be recommending them. So it worries me, that does, immensely. So, people of the tube, have you tried a vintage recently? And what was it like? What was your experience with a vintage recently? Because my experiences have been very, very negative recently, and it bothers me and it worries me. So yeah, I don't know if I dare recommend vintage at this point in time because of all the negativeness I've heard and experienced firsthand. So I'm a bit wary to mention them, which really breaks my heart. But, you know, what can you do? I'm here to be honest, and I'm here to, you know, not... I don't want to, you know, I don't want to lie and say everything's roses when it's not. You know, because... But I can say the vintages that I've got are ridiculously good. You know, they're solid as rocks. You know, the lemon drop is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculously well made. But people are saying now, they're like, really, it feels cheap, it feels nasty, it doesn't play very well. There's sharp fret edges, you know, it's not, I can't get it intonated. There's all these issues going around. It's like, what's going on, Vintage? What are you doing? I don't know. But anyway, people of the tube, I'm gonna be quiet about that now and stop there, because that rant will keep going and going and going and going. I know it will. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question. But I would recommend, like, you know, like I say, Squire, Revelation, Fender Mexico, you know, any of those three. Yeah, you know, you're kind of sorted, really. You really are. So yes. People of the tube, what would you recommend? What is a good price, best price to quality ratio Strat in your opinion? Leave your comments in the comment section below, and let's help this fellow out. Okay, so moving on to question 3 now. Yeah, hope that's the question. Moving on to question 3. What pedals would you recommend to go alongside the built-in effects on the MG100? I'm after a Dave Gilmour / Jimi Hendrix. I prefer a bluesy kind of sound. Would a Zoom multi-effects do the job? Yes. I would highly recommend something like the Zoom G2 to run alongside the... They love each other. They really do. It's like a match made in heaven. The Zoom G2 and the Marshall MGs, you know, I ain't tried any of the new Zooms, but I'm sure they're just as good. But a multi-effects, you know, like a multi-effects unit like the Zoom G2, you can get pretty much anything you want out of it. You really can, especially paired with something like that. So yeah, I mean that's what I would recommend, and they're fun as well. And you know. And you've got all your effects. You've got delays, reverbs, distortions, all sorts of stuff. So you have that kind of like Dave Gilmour-y kind of sound, and going from that to like a Jimi Hendrix kind of sound. You can do that really easy with a multi-effects unit, especially like the Zoom G2. So yeah, I would recommend that myself personally. Failing that, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, because failing that, you'd probably have to go out and buy individual pedals. You probably have to like go and buy like individual distortion pedals, fuzz pedals, choruses, and delays. I mean, I know the MG's got delay and chorus built into it, but you can only use one at a time. You can't use multiple. So if you're using chorus on the MG, you can't use the delay. So you'd have to go out and get a delay pedal. So I'd recommend something like a Zoom. Yeah, easily recommend something like a Zoom. Because it just gives you that ability to do so much, just in one. You know, it's really, really cool. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend, especially for those kind of Dave Gilmour, Jimi Hendrix kind of things. It's really, really cool. All right, okay, so I hope that's answered your question. I'm really sorry about this, Evan. I'm going to rocket through things today. I'm on a bit of a time limit, and I am running rapidly out of time, so I'm going to have to move on. Final question of the day, everybody, question 4. I'm really sorry I can't get to do more questions today. It's a busy week this week, everybody. It's a really, really busy week, so I do apologise for not doing as many questions as I normally do, but hopefully, you know, hope these questions are okay. I hope the answers are okay, should I say, and hope this video is okay. So, final question today, question 4. Have you played any of the 2018 lineup of the new Marshall MGs, the Gold Series MGs? No. I haven't played any of the new MGs yet, and I've watched a few reviews on them, and I'm not impressed. Through reviews, they just sound like wasps in jars. They're just really fizzy. I mean, I would like to try one myself in person, but the reviews I've seen do not cast them in a good light to me. They don't really appeal to me as much as these ones do. I don't know, they just don't sound like a Marshall. I don't know, it's weird. New Marshalls sound very strange to me. They don't really seem to sound like old Marshalls. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I haven't tried any yet, no. I would like to give one a go at some point, but you know, it's either being able to find someone who can lend me one or being able to buy one, which at this point in time I can't afford it. But like I say, I mean, the reviews I've seen on them, I'm a bit... not overly happy with the way they sound. They don't sound that great, I don't think, to be honest with you. They don't. I don't know. They just sound like those MGs, the MG VFX and stuff like that, the Carbon series and stuff like that, which I didn't like either. I thought they were just waspy, fizzy nothings. I didn't think they sounded very good at all. My own opinion. I mean, I know some people out there love them, and that's cool. But in my opinion, I don't like them. I like the older MGs 10 times more. I think they just sound better and they feel better, and I love them. I love them, as you well know. So yeah, I mean, I haven't tried them yet, but hopefully in the future I'll get my dirty little grubby guitar hands on one, and if I get my hands on one and the review doesn't come out, it means I don't like it, and I'm not going to review it. But if I get my hands on one and there's a review on it, it means they're good. Hopefully. But yeah, I would like to try one at some point. So you never know, future, fingers crossed, I'll get my dirty little hands on one. So yes, am I out of time? Yes, I'm sorry everybody, I'm really out of time now. So I'm glad I got through all the questions though, which I'm really happy about. So I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. Yeah, I hope I answered your questions okay. I say people of the tube, help out with the best price point question 2 if you can. And yeah, I will see you on Friday for another video. Yes, have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. The wind is ridiculous. And yes, goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching.